baby, come on.
Yo, you best protect your neck.
Hip-hop will rock and shock the nation like the Emancipation Proclamation.
The Wu is the way, the Tang is the slang, the Clan represents the family.
Queen, get the money, dollar bill, yo.
Dedicated to the Lexus and the axe. Dedicated to everything.
Hey, the Mastermind. No need to skip, be careful, people.
Now what you have here is a clique of brothers with witty, unpredictable talent and a lot of natural game.
So it's
A lot of people don't know about Cream is that this song must have been recorded 4 or 5 times by Wu-Tang Clan.
Can't define how I be dropping these mockeries. Lyrically perform armed robbery.
H-O-D, man. M-E-T, H-O-D.
Thing around me, Queen, get the money, dollar bill, yo.
What if I told you there's a deeper, darker story beneath Wu-Tang Clan's legendary beats and kung fu charm? We've all heard the anthems, yelled the catchphrases, and rocked the Shaolin style. But behind those gold plaques and classic hooks, there's a maze of FBI files, money feuds, personal heartbreak, and drama so intense it almost tore their empire apart. Want to know what really happened? Stick around, because by the end of this script, you'll discover how Robert Diggs, known to the world as RZA, built one of the biggest rap legacies ever, and how it nearly crumbled from the inside. But before we go deeper, I have a question for you. Can a brilliant mastermind keep his group together when money and power start pulling everyone in different directions? Type your answer in the comments right now. Then get comfy, because this story is about to take you from the heights of rap stardom to the darkest corners of betrayal and government suspicion. Welcome to the untold side of Wu-Tang Clan. This is your backstage pass to learn how one of the most respected hip-hop groups in history rose from the Staten Island underground, took over the rap scene, and then faced shocking legal battles, personal tragedies, and government scrutiny. We'll uncover the downfall of Old Dirty Bastard ODB, how RZA controlled the group, why FBI agents investigated them, and where each member is today. Some say Wu-Tang is for the children. ODB shouted that at the Grammys. But the truth, there's a lot more to the Wu-Tang Saga than half the world even knows. So, if you think you already have the full picture, get ready to question everything. Let's begin with Robert Diggs. Many people call him RZA. But he was once just a dreamer trying to break through in Staten Island. His early solo days as Prince Rakeem did not go well. His single flopped. The record label didn't see big potential. He could have quit music right there. But Robert was too stubborn for that. Instead, he went underground, blending his love of kung fu movies with raw hip-hop. He believed a big rap group could shake the game. Something bold and different. He reached out to his cousins, GZA, aka The Genius, and Old Dirty Bastard, and soon added Method Man, Raekwon, Ghostface Killah, Inspector Deck U-God, and Masta Killa. By 1992, this lineup, later called Wu-Tang Clan, had begun to form. They didn't look like other groups. They didn't sound like them either. Most record labels back then wanted safe, easy-to-sell solo artists. A big group with 9 members seemed too risky, but RZA had a plan. He believed each rapper could hold his own on the mic, and together, they'd be unstoppable. Nobody wanted to sign them, so they released Protect Ya Neck themselves, selling vinyl copies out of car trunks. The song spread like wildfire in the underground scene. Labels started calling. Now they wanted Wu-Tang. Funny how that works. But here's the twist. RZA demanded that each member could sign solo deals on the side. This was unheard of in hip-hop. Usually, labels lock you in. With Wu-Tang, each MC had the freedom to do solo albums elsewhere. This would end up helping them branch out, but also creating new challenges down the road. In 1993, Wu-Tang Clan released Enter the Wu-Tang, 36 chambers. It didn't sound like anything else. No fancy production or radio-friendly hooks. It was gritty, raw, and full of references to Kung Fu, tracks like CREAM, A Method Man, and Wu-Tang Clan Ain't Nothing to F Wit, turned into street anthems. Critics loved the bold style. Fans couldn't get enough of it. RZA was the captain. He oversaw production, making beats that were rough and edgy. This gave the album a unique feel, almost like you could sense Staten Island in every note. The success of 36 Chambers showed that you didn't need a polished image to make it big. You just needed authentic stories and a sound that hit people's hearts. With that success came brand power. The Wu-Tang W logo began popping up on shirts, hats, posters, you name it. It became a badge of honor for anyone who loved real, unfiltered hip-hop. But while fans saw unity, the group itself was about to face challenges they never expected. Let's talk about Old Dirty Bastard, ODB. He was the group's loose cannon. Fans adored his unpredictable style, off-key singing, and wild stage antics. But behind that genius was a man battling deep problems. His arrests piled up, his drug use soared. Over time, it became clear that ODB wasn't just crazy for show. His life was spiraling out of control. Then came the 1998 Grammy Awards. When Wu-Tang lost an award, ODB jumped on stage during someone else's speech, shouting, "Wu-Tang is for the children." It was legendary and hilarious. But for those who knew ODB, it was a cry for help. By the early 2000s, his run-ins with the law and drug problems worsened. He escaped from court-ordered rehab. Friends and family tried to step in, but it wasn't enough. On November 13, 2004, he collapsed at the Wu-Tang studio, just 2 days before his 36th birthday. The cause was a drug overdose. The clan lost a brother, and the rap world lost one of its brightest, strangest, most creative minds. ODB's death shattered the group's spirit in a way they'd never fully recover from. As if losing ODB wasn't painful enough, another bomb dropped. The FBI was keeping tabs on Wu-Tang. Yes, actual government agents investigated them for suspected drug trafficking, gun running, and even links to murder. Declassified documents show that the FBI believed Wu-Tang might be using their music label as a front for illegal deals. It was a serious charge, but no official charges were ever filed in the end. Still, the fact that Wu-Tang was on the FBI's radar added a new layer to their legend. Fans who loved the group for being hardcore saw them as even more dangerous now. Yet others worried that the group was being profiled just because they were a group of young black men making aggressive rap music. Either way, it created stress. Some members wondered if the FBI's watchful eye would scare off business partners. Others felt it might boost their street cred. Real or not, the rumor of Wu-Tang as a criminal network hung over their heads for years. For a while, Arze appeared to be the perfect leader. He had guided them from the streets to multi-platinum fame. But success can expose old wounds and new resentments. Arze was in charge of production, money, branding, basically everything. As time went on, some members felt their voices weren't being heard. Inspector Deck had the skill to be a star, but his album masters got destroyed in a flood at Arze's apartment. By the time he re-recorded, the hype was gone. God was paid less than he expected and eventually sued Arze for unpaid royalties. Method Man soared in popularity thanks to hits and collaborations, which brought both pride and jealousy from his fellow clansmen. These problems pointed to a deeper issue. The group was less united than fans believed. Money fights, creative disputes, and personal egos started to clash. Fans only saw the cool front. Wu-Tang ain't nothing to F with. Behind closed doors, people felt overlooked or taken advantage of. Now, if you ask fans about the most bizarre moment in Wu-Tang history, many will bring up Once Upon a Time in Shaolin. It was a rare album that only had one copy. The group sold it for $2 million to a man named Martin Shkreli, also known as the Pharma Bro. Shkreli was infamous for raising drug prices to sky-high levels, making him one of the most hated figures in America. Wu-Tang's decision to sell to him looked like a betrayal. Fans who stuck with them through thick and thin felt shut out. Some members even said they didn't know it was being sold to Shkreli until it was too late. That single sale sparked anger across social media. Was Wu-Tang putting art over money, or money over art? The news overshadowed the fact that Once Upon a Time in Shaolin was supposed to be a unique piece of hip-hop art. Through all these storms, the clan survived, though not always side by side. Here's a quick look at each member's current status. RZA, Robert Diggs, grew into a film director, producer, tech investor, and fashion collaborator. Married to Talani Rab since 2009. Some praise his vision, others blame him for the group's internal fights. Gza, the genius. Known for a sharp lyrical style and the classic album Liquid Swords, has given lectures at Harvard and MIT to talk about music and science. Remains a quiet yet powerful presence in hip-hop. Old Dirty Bastard, ODB, died in 2004 from a drug overdose. Still loved for his raw energy and unique style. His name lives on through tribute tracks and memories of his wild stage presence. Method Man found success in music, film, and fitness. Married to Tamika Smith for over 2 decades. Known for keeping his private life out of the spotlight. Ghostface, Killa Famous, for his storytelling and one-of-a-kind vocal tone. Consistently releases solo albums and tours. Mentors younger rappers, including his son. who's also stepping into music. Raekwon released the classic Only Built for Cuban Links and other projects, launched a wine brand called Licata, authored a best-selling autobiography full of stories about the early Wu days, Inspecta Deck, often called the most underrated Wu member, thanks to his clever rhymes, teamed up with 7L and Esoteric to form Czarface, never got the full solo spotlight he deserved after the flood ruined his early work. U-God struggled with financial issues, leading him to sue RZA over unpaid royalties, continued to make music but never reached the heights of some other members. His story highlights the money troubles that haunt big groups. Masta Killa, the quietest member, known for a low-key style, has released steady solo projects for fans who crave that deep Wu sound, stays out of the drama, focusing on music and personal growth. Some are doing well in business, some are still wrestling with old tensions. They do reunite for tours and special events, but the bond they once had might not be what it used to be. So how did Wu-Tang move from a tight group of hungry MCs to a fractured empire full of lawsuits and anger? It comes down to power, money, and control. RZA was the mastermind who paved the way for their success. Without his planning and vision, Wu-Tang might never have risen so fast or so high. But total control can breed resentment. Inspecta Deck and U-God felt overlooked. They weren't reaping the same rewards as their more famous peers. Method Man emerged as a star, raising questions about who was getting the promotional push. Fans saw a group that was built on unity, but the group itself saw division. Add in the fact that everyone had solo contracts, and you get a system ripe for conflict. Each time a new solo album dropped, there was a question. How does this affect the Wu brand? If a member's solo work underperformed, it could drag down the entire group's reputation. If it soared, the group might feel overshadowed. Balancing 9 careers at once was no easy task. RZA tried to be the glue, but the tension only grew over time. In public, Wu-Tang exuded confidence and unity, but behind the scenes, they had heated debates about money, album releases, and the group's future. Rumors suggest there were times certain members refused to record together. Other rumors say there were screaming matches during late-night studio sessions. Fans seldom saw these fights. They saw epic live performances, top-tier albums, and interviews hinting at brotherly love. When questions arose, like, what's going on with U-God's lawsuit? Or, how do you feel about RZA's creative control? The group often gave short answers or avoided them altogether. Only later did fans learn how deep these resentments ran. Then there was ODB's decline. Some members blamed RZA for being too strict or not caring enough. Others said ODB was on a path nobody could control. When the dust settled, fans felt they had only witnessed a fraction of the heartbreak that actually took place. Wu-Tang still performs as a collective from time to time. Despite all the drama, the brand's power and nostalgia factor remain. Younger fans discover 36 Chambers and say, this is the real stuff. Older fans still treasure the days when Wu-Tang was at its peak. People show up to concerts chanting Wu-Tang forever with unwavering devotion. RZA's next steps. He expanded into movies, The Man with the Iron Fists, film scores, Kill Bill, and even some tech ventures. Critics admire his range, but some fans can't forget the conflicts he caused. Method. Man's growth beyond music. He's known for roles on TV shows like Power Book 2 Ghost. His fitness journey has also inspired fans to stay disciplined. Ghostface and Raekwon. They keep the classic Wu spirit alive, releasing solo albums and going on tours. Raekwon's business skills, wine brand, autobiography, show that Wu-Tang's hustle never ends. ODB's legacy. Even though he's gone, fans still celebrate his music. There are always rumors about unreleased ODB tracks or tribute projects. Wu-Tang's story, however stormy, still resonates. The lessons they taught hip-hop about branding, independence, and group power are vast. But there's also a cautionary note. Success can tear friends apart if they aren't ready for the demands of fame. Wu-Tang is more than a rap group. They're a case study in leadership and risk-taking. Think about it. RZA fought for solo deals for each member, which no one had done before. That gave them freedom. But the flip side was less group unity. Everyone had their own label, manager, and demands. As Wu-Tang grew in popularity, so did each member's ambitions. People who once shared cramped studios were now traveling the globe, earning big paychecks. Egos can flare in that environment. Friendships can sour. Promises can go unkept. The big question is, how do you manage growth without losing the heart of the group? Their saga highlights the risk of mixing business with close relationships. Sometimes you have to pick between being a friend or a boss. RZA chose to be a boss, and it got results for a while. But the cost was friction, jealousy, and lawsuits. Whether you call him a genius or a control freak might say more about your viewpoint than about him. Still, the facts are clear. Wu-Tang changed hip-hop forever, at a price few could handle. Let's take a moment to reflect. Did RZA's control keep Wu-Tang afloat, or did it choke out other members' creative energy? Was selling that $2 million album bold art, or a slap in the face to loyal fans? And would ODB still be around if the group had staged an intervention, or stepped in sooner? We don't have all the answers, but these questions fuel debates among fans and music lovers. Everyone has an opinion, and that's part of what keeps Wu-Tang relevant: the mystery, the drama, and the sheer impact of their music. Sometimes, it's the small facts that show who these people really are. Method Man, a huge comic book fan who has even written intros for Marvel Comics. This love of comics feeds his creative mind. G-Zay, the genius, passionate about science, and tries to connect it with hip-hop. He visits schools hoping to inspire the next generation. Raekwon and Ghostface. Despite past disagreements, they keep making music together. Their chemistry on songs like Verbal Intercourse is legendary. Inspectah Deck formed Czarface with 7L and Esoteric, showcasing a more underground vibe. Fans who love heavy lyrics dig this project. U-God, his autobiography, reveals a rough background that shaped his style. It also shows how easy it is for intergroup problems to get worse when money is tight. These bits of knowledge remind us that Wu-Tang Clan isn't just a business brand or a hip-hop group. They're people with dreams and quirks that go beyond the spotlight. Part of Wu-Tang's conflict may be blamed on the music industry itself. When you have 9 different artists, each with solo deals, you end up with a puzzle of managers, label reps, and contracts. The industry pushes for maximum profit and sometimes pits members against each other, intentionally or not. During the 90s, hip-hop was also facing East Coast versus West Coast drama. Media outlets loved stirring the pot because it sold magazines and boosted TV ratings. Even though Wu-Tang never joined that feud in a big public way, the environment was tense. In a world where conflicts were hyped, Wu-Tang's internal fights had all the fuel they needed. Wu-Tang fans can be fiercely loyal. They'll follow the group from small club shows to huge festival stages. They buy the merch, memorize the lyrics, and pass on the fandom to their kids. So when word of FBI probes, lawsuits, and that $2 million album came out, some fans felt betrayed. Others defended Wu-Tang, saying the group was doing what it had to in order to survive the industry. They saw RZA as a savvy businessman, turning adversity into money. The sale of the Shaolin album, in their eyes, was a statement on the value of art in a world that rarely respects it. But many saw it as a cheap stunt. Even now, fans debate whether that move was visionary or a big mistake. Regardless, Wu-Tang remains strong in the hearts of many. New fans find their music daily, pulled in by the rugged beats and real-life stories. The group's hits still play, in clubs and at parties. That W logo is seen on everything from hoodies to coffee mugs. Love them or hate them, you can't ignore them. Let's dig deeper into the root issue. How does power change relationships? In the early days, RZA was just the cousin with a plan, but as Wu-Tang soared, he became the abbot, the man with the final say on everything. That shift made some members uncomfortable. They wanted creative control too. You also have to note that many of these artists came from tough neighborhoods, where loyalty is everything. Betrayal is the worst sin. When money and fame start to roll in, loyalty can be tested. Some members might put their own needs ahead of the group. Others might cling to the group even tighter, but resent the star players or the leader who calls all the shots. The question is, could Wu-Tang have avoided these pitfalls if they'd set better rules from day one? Or were these cracks bound to show up as soon as big checks and outside fame appeared? Even with the drama, Wu-Tang changed hip-hop. They proved that a huge group could succeed if it had a clear vision. They showed you didn't need polished pop hits to sell records. Their brand, complete with kung fu themes and street credibility, became iconic. Future collectives from Odd Future to ASAP Mob benefited from Wu-Tang's template. They copied the idea of strong group identity plus solo deals. Yet Wu-Tang's story also warns us, big success comes with big costs. If you're not ready for the pressures of fame, it can tear friendships apart. The group's journey from local heroes to worldwide rap kings is full of lessons about managing success, creative differences, And we've covered a lot. How RZA turned a dream into a dynasty, how the FBI got involved, how ODB's tragic death rocked the group, and how a single secret album fueled anger. Wu-Tang's highs include classic records, global tours, and a loyal following. Their lows include infighting, lawsuits, betrayals, and heartbreak. So now it's your turn to decide, was RZA a true leader or just a control freak? Did Once Upon a Time in Shaolin ruin Wu-Tang's core values or push art to a new level? Could the group have saved ODB, or was his fate already sealed? Wu-Tang's story keeps going. Some chapters are bright, and others are dark. They still join forces for shows. They still drop projects from time to time. Fans old and new carry on the legend of that stylized W. For better or worse, Wu-Tang remains a titan of hip-hop, teaching us about the power of loyalty and the dangers of unchecked ambition. You've made it to the end of this deep dive. I want to know your final thoughts. Let's keep the conversation going. Comment below. Do you think Wu-Tang's internal problems could have been avoided? Like this video or post if you learned something new. Share this with anyone who loves hip-hop and wants the real story behind those classic hits. Subscribe or follow this channel for more deep dives into the hidden tales of the music world. Remember, Wu-Tang is forever, but the truth behind that legacy runs deeper than most fans ever imagined. Until next time, protect your neck and don't be afraid to look past the headlines. That's where the real lessons hide.